Ladies and gentlemen, the 2025 NBA All-Star Game is right around the corner, and it's actually closer than you think. So today, you and I are going to be submitting our All-Star ballot together for the 2025 NBA All-Star Game. And this is something that I've never really done before. I mean, this is my first year on YouTube, so everything is going to be really different, and it's going to be brand new. All of this is going to be for me. So we're going to go through our NBA All-Star votes, and sadly, we're only going to be doing the starting fives, even though I wish I could do all 24 players that are going to make it. But, hey, we can't get everything. Okay, so we're up at the top right corner, or top left corner, actually, this time. And we're just going to put in our ballots. So we're going to start with guard, east guard, west guard, east front court, west front court, all the necessary things. So right now we are on NBA.com. If you do not know how to vote for the All-Star Game, you go to vote.nba.com. I'm not somebody who was always big on voting for my All-Stars. I really didn't care who was in the All-Star Game. I just wanted to watch it. But now, these past maybe 2-3 seasons, I've been voting a little bit more, and honestly, I didn't know where to go. So if you need that help, it's all there for you. Anyway, we're going to be starting out with the first West guard, which is kind of easy for me. We're going to do SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And the way he's been playing this season, obviously you can tell he's averaging 30 points per game, 6 assists, and about 5.5 rebounds. He's just been the level of consistency that you would have wanted for the Oklahoma City Thunder this season. I don't know if he can get much better. I mean, there's always him being a better playmaker that I think could really boost his game. He has taken an uptick in three-pointers this season, which I necessarily don't believe he needs to do. Just being able to be an amazing in-between player, have that change of pace and change of direction, and get to the rim really effortlessly, I think that is good enough. But he has been shooting at a decent clip from outside the arc. It's not something that's been like world mind-blowing, but he has been attempting a little bit more. But I just hope that does not really give him or put him in the scenario where you're taking away or you're not doing what makes you best as much as you used to, and it's not making you better, it's making you worse. Because I think a lot of people get put in these situations where they're not really doing what makes them so good. And that doesn't make you any better just because now you're taking a more broad range of three-pointers. I think that makes you worse if you're not consistently killing the defense with what makes you worse. Like if, for example, if Ja Morant just started taking multiple threes a game, if that just decided to be his thing out of nowhere and he decided to start taking 9 or 10 threes a game and he's not putting that pressure on the rim like he used to, that would make him worse because that's what makes Ja Morant so good. So hopefully SGA just does not do that. I'm sorry if I took a weird pause in the video. I heard a weird noise in my apartment. So anyway, let's go back. Okay, so SGA is going to be our first candidate for the West All-Stars. Maybe I should... No, we're good just like this. Okay, perfect. Up next, we have the East guards. The first guard for the Eastern Conference. I'm not going to lie. One, I will not be voting for LeBron in this video. I do not think he has been an All-Star or he will be an All-Star starter this year. Now, my two-guard spot for this is kind of set in stone with, because I don't know, man. I think Tyler Hero has been really good this year. And I really want him to be an All-Star. The East has a lot of candidates this year. Zach LaVine, Darius Garland, Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell, Cade Cunningham, Tyler Hero, even Cam Thomas, man. A lot of people like to talk shit about Cam Thomas, even though I was one of those guys. He deserves a shot, man, at least a shot. Derek White All-Star campaign. I'm always gonna cheer for that. Jared McCain is another guy I would love to vote for, but he's probably not gonna play for the rest of the season. Who else? Yeah, that's really it. Ty Jerome, shout out to you, bro. But yeah, man. Let's see. It's between Damian Lillard and Jalen Brunson. Like if you were to ask me which one should be the starting point guard for the Eastern Conference. That's so tough. That is so tough. I'm going to take Jalen Brunson. And to be completely honest, there are qualities, or they're the main reason I would say Jalen Brunson is going to be my Eastern Conference starting point guard for the All-Star game this year is he should have been the starter last year next to Tyrese Halliburton, because at that time Tyrese Halliburton was playing great basketball, phenomenal basketball. Okay, so we got our guys. We got SGA and Jalen Brunson being our lead guards for the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. Now we got to go to more of the second guard or the two guard. For the two guard spot in the Western Conference, you have a multitude of different players. You got Kyrie Irving, who deserves a shot. James Harden could be put in this conversation. Ja Morant, Steph Curry, Norman Powell, Anthony Edwards, De'Aaron Fox, all these guys. But there's a specific player that I have in mind. There he is. Cason Wallace, baby. Mr. Right Place, Mr. Right Time. Mr. Corner 3. Mr. Perimeter Defense. Come on, baby. We here. Cason Wallace, starting All-Star. Yeah, one thing I noticed the other day was I don't really talk about some of my favorite players on my channel. Like, I have a lot of players that I personally prefer in the NBA right now, and a lot of people wouldn't be able to know those. Like, I really should start talking about some of my favorite players in the NBA, and Cason Wallace is one of them. Cason Wallace, Jared McCain. I really like Zachary Risache. Obviously LeBron and AD. Those are some of my favorite players in the NBA. Austin Reeves, of course. I'm going to be biased when it comes to Austin Reeves. I have a lot of players that I love in the NBA, and I don't really talk about them that much. Anyway, Luka Doncic. And a lot of people have kind of written Luka off just because of his slow start to the season, and then that really bad highlight of him giving up the game against the Utah Jazz defensively. But I think he's really picked it up over the past few games. He's been shooting better. He's been controlling the floor a lot better. The Dallas Mavericks have been winning more. They look like the second best team in the Western Conference right now. So I'm going to lean towards Luka Doncic being the starting two guard for this Western Conference All-Star team. Now, it's kind of confusing me as of right now because the West have the blue and the East have the red. I think they're starting to just dive into it just a little bit too much with the changing of the All-Star game. They didn't have to change the colors. They didn't have to change the colors. I always grew up knowing the East was blue and the West was red. Come on now. Come on. We don't got to change that. We don't have to change that. Anyway, up next, the starting two guard for the East, even though I love what Tyler Hero is doing. I absolutely love what Tyler Hero is doing. You know what? You know what, man? You know what? Come on, Dame. Come on. You deserve to be an all-star starter this year. Come on, Dame. Donovan Mitchell, you are playing phenomenal basketball, man. You are playing phenomenal basketball. But I just can't take this away from Dame. This is somebody who is playing extremely well off of Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's averaging 25 points per game on 62% true shooting, and he actually gets more efficient when Giannis is not on the floor. So it's something that you did not think you would see from Damian Lillard. At least I didn't. After him having an off season last year, and he just looked a step slower. His shooting was not the best, and it just looked like at his age, it looked like we were going to start see a downwards trend for Damian Lillard, and he really picked it up this season. And he proved me wrong. On my Hoop Talk podcast with Mars Talk Sports, I had him number 10 on my point guard list coming into the season, and I was really wrong because the guys I had ahead of him, Tyrese Maxey, Trae Young, Darius Garland for sure, Tyrese Halliburton. Who else did I have ahead of him? Oh, they're not on the East. Those are all the East ones. But De'Aaron Fox, I think he's been playing better than. He deserves this spot. And he really looks like a top 5 to 6 point guard in the NBA again. Let's see. Because I would still, as of right now, he's playing better than. Is he playing? No, he's playing better than Steph. Right now, at least, he's playing better than Steph, in my opinion. I think Steph is probably the one that may fall to 5 if you were to ask me. If you were to ask me right now the point guard rankings, I would say Luka, Shea, Brunson, Lillard, Curry. But no, that's disrespectful to Curry. Anyway, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this right here, right now. Anyway, we're back on time right here. We got our starting backcourts for the Western Conference and for the Eastern Conference with SGA and Luka Doncic, and then Jaylen Brown and Damian Lillard. Luckily, they don't play a lot of defense in the All-Star game, so this is going to be fantastic. Anyway, let's do our first front court member for the Western Conference. We got a lot of guys here. This is hard. This is hard, man. This is hard. Okay. Obviously, we're going to go with Nikola Jokic. Let's just get this one out the way right now. 31, 13, and 10. You're not going to get much better than this. So we're going to have Nikola Jokic right here for the first front court pick. He's been playing phenomenal basketball. He's still the best player in the league. He has been a little iffy on defense lately. There's been a lot of people calling him out for his defense, which I believe is a solid critique. I mean, you would want your starting five to be a plus as a rim protector, but the fact that he is one of the greatest offensive players we have ever seen and by far the best offensive player in the league, I think that gives him the push, or just enough for him to be an all-star starter. Let's not get it fucked up. I think Nikola Jokic is one of the best offensive players we have ever seen. He is probably one of the best scorers in the NBA. I would say he's the top 2 scorer in the NBA. I personally think he's the best scorer in the league. But I can see an argument for Giannis or SGA or maybe even Luka when he's all the way dialed in. But anyway, let's move to the Eastern Conference front court. Up next, for the Eastern Conference front court, we are going to be starting with Giannis Antetokounmpo, the guy who is rivaling Jokic right now for the MVP award, which is very interesting, if you ask me, because I think Giannis Antetokounmpo has been able to play well defensively and offensively. He's been dominant offensively. He's been really upgrading his mid-range shot this season, which I think has been phenomenal. He's also been a hell of a transition player, a hell of a roller. Something I thought he had an issue with was really not necessarily looking to help the pick and roll ball handler. He was kind of just looking to score the ball whenever he was in pick and roll situations, and now he's starting to clean that up a lot more. But he's been playing ball fantastically, and he's also been such a great defender, especially through this NBA Cup run. So I give Giannis his flowers, and he's going to be an all-star starter this year, and he might be the MVP depending on how the Bucks finish in the seedings. Up next, another Western Conference front court player, and we are going to have Anthony Davis. This guy has been great. Anthony Davis has been great this season. Now, there has been a couple of stretches where Anthony Davis just has not looked good, but fully healthy, Anthony Davis has been phenomenal offensively. Still think he's leaving a lot to be desired defensively, especially with the lack of perimeter help he has on defense. His motor is a little low defensively, but as an offensive hub and having everything run through him, he's been phenomenal, whether it's finishing around the basket, shooting in the mid-range, getting offensive rebounds and putbacks. He's been phenomenal. Anyway, up next, the next front court player for the Eastern Conference, we got the big bodega, man. Big Karl Anthony Towns. Man. I'm extremely, extremely happy for Karl Anthony Towns, man, because this is a guy who has done everything you have wanted him to do in Minnesota. You know, he was the number 1 pick. His rookie year, he looked phenomenal. He averaged about 18 and 10 with 2.5 blocks. You thought he was going to be a defensive player that was going to be game-changing. You thought he was going to be a game-changing offensive player, which he is. And we really thought back then that him, Andrew Wiggins, and Zach LaVine were going to have a chokehold of the NBA around this time. You know, Karl Anthony Towns would be at the peak of his powers, being one of the best players in the NBA, which he is one of the better players in the NBA. But we had that thought that he was going to be a top 5, top 10 type of player in the NBA. And Andrew Wiggins and Zach LaVine were going to be great complementary pieces in this Minnesota Timberwolves team, was just going to win a lot of championships. Anyway, up next, they ended up taking Jimmy Butler or trading for Jimmy Butler. That didn't work out. Karl Anthony Towns kind of took more of an offensive jump next to Jimmy Butler, but it just didn't work out with him and Andrew Wiggins. And then you trade off Jimmy Butler and you draft Anthony Edwards, and Karl Anthony Towns takes that number two role. And then you trade for Rudy Gobert. And Karl Anthony Towns just adjusts to all of it. He doesn't ask questions. He doesn't complain. He just goes out and he plays basketball. And he's been doing that at a high level for Minnesota. But Minnesota's like, you know what, Cat? We don't want to pay you. We don't want to pay you this money today. We just don't. So we're going to ship you to New York for Julius Randle. And no disrespect to Julius Randle, but he is probably one of the least malleable players in the NBA. I said malleable, least portable players in the NBA. You know, just with the ball stoppage and the underwhelming shooting splits that he had. One of his best seasons was a really hot streak from three, just to add in. He is a very good player, but I think if the offense isn't totally catered to him, then it's not going to be a successful offense. And let's just say that this Minnesota Timberwolves offense is probably the worst case scenario offensively to have a Julius Randle, them in Orlando. But yeah, Karl Anthony Towns has been phenomenal this season. In New York, he has he has a lot more space to create for himself. That's why you see him driving to the basket a lot cleaner. The offensive fouls have started to go down a lot more. The shooting has been phenomenal. In Minnesota, he was the floor spacer, and now he has the space around him to be able to drive and kick. He has the space around him to drive, stop on a dime, post up, spin off the post, and finish. He has the ability to finish through contact. His drives don't look as clunky as they used to where he's getting these charges or he's getting these turnovers. He has the space to go up, or he has the space to lean on to play in the post and be a post fadeaway type of guy or a post hook type of guy. So his offense has been phenomenal. He's been phenomenal. He's one of the greatest shooting big men we've ever seen. So Karl Anthony Towns, all-star starter, you definitely deserved it. Now we have one more spot left. I just rambled on about Karl Anthony Towns way longer than I should have, by the way. And these type of videos, there's no script for these. There's no research. This is just going off of what I've seen so far this season. Yeah, this is supposed to be a fun video. So, oh shoot, I'm not supposed to submit my votes yet. Anyway, the last player for the Western Conference, which I'm going to assume is going to be LeBron James. Like, I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to y'all. It's probably gonna be LeBron, but I'm not gonna vote for LeBron. I don't think he's been an all-star starter, but he's probably gonna be an all-star starter until he retires. So, who knows? I'm gonna actually take Kevin Durant. Part of me wants to take Wemby, especially with how he's been playing lately. But I just don't know if I want to do the three big lineup in an all-star game. That might not be, especially since, because realistically, Victor Wembanyama may get more votes than Anthony Davis. Like, think about how much people want to see Wemby's type of play in an all-star game. Like, you think people would want to see that more than Anthony Davis? I'm just gonna take Anthony Davis based on how he's been playing. I think he's been, maybe over the past 15, Wemby has been better, but I think throughout the entire season. But has Victor Wembanyama been better than Anthony Davis this season? I'm not gonna take it that far. I think Anthony Davis has been better, but Kevin Durant's gonna be the guy. He's been in and out of the lineup so far this season, but when he is on the floor, this Phoenix Suns team looks like one of the better teams in the Western Conference. And it sucks because I had them as the 4th seed in the West coming into the season. I had them at number 4 because I just truly thought the addition of Mike Budenholzer and Tyus Jones were going to have this Phoenix Suns team playing a lot better now that they have a better direction. This is one of the most talented offensive teams in the NBA, and last season they were one of the worst clutch teams in the NBA. And I think that has changed this season. And earlier to start on this season, we got a big swing of clutch games. I think they were 7-1 or 8-1 in their first 9 clutch games, which was phenomenal to see. Kevin Durant was really being one of the better clutch players in the NBA and looked like he was going to take home the Clutch Player of the Year award. But he got hurt a little bit. The Suns fell in the standings. I think right now they are the 11th seed, if you want to be completely honest. But I still think Kevin Durant has been phenomenal. He has to take this all-star starter spot. Okay, last all-star starter. Come on, DeAndre Hunter, man. DeAndre Hunter. Yeah, I'm just screwing with y'all. Jason Tatum is going to be the last all-star starter. Once again, one of my favorite moments of the season this year is because you guys know I am going to defend Jason Tatum. I'm going to defend Jason Tatum because I feel like a lot of people are just really... Hold on. One thing I noticed. This Eastern Conference starting 5 has 2 Knicks and 2 Bucks. And that's completely fine with me. Because if we look, if we just take a look, Paolo's been hurt. Franz is hurt. RJ's not playing well enough to be an all-star starter. Jaylen Brown hasn't been playing enough. I don't think Joel Embiid's going to be a starter this year. Don't think he's going to play enough either. Don't think Brandon Miller has been better than Karl, Giannis, Tatum, Yeah, don't think he's been better than either one of those three. Um, the only argument you could really have is just having Donovan Mitchell over Dame, which I can understand. I just think Dame deserves it more this year a little bit. I just think he deserves. Well, I wouldn't say he deserves it more, but I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal preference. Maybe it's just a personal preference. But anyway, Jason Tatum, he's averaging about what, 28 points this year, 28, 10, and 6, something like that. His shooting has gotten a lot better. He's still driving to the rim. He's still getting a lot better as a playmaker, still a great defender, and the Celtics are the best team in the league. Jason Tatum is going to be Jason Tatum. And this is my all-star team, ladies and gentlemen. The Western Conference starters are SGA, Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic, and Kevin Durant. The Eastern Conference starters are Jalen Brunson, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Karl Anthony Towns, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so if you guys like that type of content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We do videos every Monday through Saturday over here at the Buzzer Sports with John D. So if you guys like this type of content, I'm going to say it again. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I am out. Peace.